everyone, my name is Joe Grubaugh,
And I'm Jamie MacArthur.
and we are about to present to you a step-by-step activity analysis of cross-country skiing. Equipment needed for cross-country skiing will include bindings, ski poles, cross-country ski boots, and warm clothes. There's a variety of cross-country skis that you can purchase and bindings as well, but you must make sure that the bindings match the boots. Warm clothes are not required, but are obviously helpful to make the activity more enjoyable so you do not get cold. Also, preferably breathable clothing on certain days when you're going to get warmer. In regards to the space, setting, time, and contextual factors needed to complete cross-country skiing, we'll need a fairly large amount of space outdoors. Ground must be snow-covered, relatively flat, although we can maneuver around some small hills and trees. The activity must be completed during the day, and oftentimes it's completed on a groomed trail, and you'll notice that there will be some public parks that will have cross-country skiing trails in the wintertime that are accessible to the public. Addressing some of the gender, cultural, social, and economic factors associated with cross-country skiing, this activity can obviously be enjoyed by both genders. Cultural factors could include geographical limitations. For instance, if somebody is living in a climate that does not produce cold weather, it's going to make it much more difficult to complete this activity. Social factors. This activity, for the most part, can be enjoyed by individuals across the lifespan, spanning from childhood to older adult. And economic factors. It can get pricey when you purchase new ski equipment, but ski equipment can also be rented at a fairly reduced fee, and you also can get public access to trails as well. Cross-country skiing can be very emotionally and psychologically uplifting for a lot of individuals because they can participate in this activity with family members, with friends. They also too can get a lot of aerobic exercise while they're doing this, and then that can also help contribute to health and wellness. Also, a wide array of accommodations for individuals living with a variety of disabilities. Jamie's going to start out here by bringing her right arm forward, flexing at the shoulder joint, pronating at the radial ulnar joint, adducting the thumb and the phalanges so they'll fit through the ski loop. Bringing her left arm forward by flexing at the shoulder joint, slight flexion of the elbow, pronation of the radial ulnar joint. Using a 3-jaw chuck pinch grasp to secure the loop with the left hand. And then slight extension of the right elbow as she guides the left hand loop around the right hand. Then she's going to repeat mirrored instructions using the right hand to guide the ski loop over the left hand. With both straps in place, Jamie is going to use a cylindrical power grasp with the left hand and the right hand to maintain gross motor control of the left and right ski pole. And she's going to achieve this by using flexion of the thumb and then flexion of phalanges 2 through 5. Next, you'll see Jamie positioning her right leg over the ski binding by flexing at the hip and knee joint, and then eccentrically contracting the hip flexors and the knee flexors to position over the right binding. Jamie will then lock her boot to the front portion of the binding by slight plantar flexion of the ankle and simultaneous extension of the great and lesser toes. Weight will now be distributed evenly over the right leg, and then she'll repeat steps 3 through 5 with the left leg. In order to begin the skiing motion, Jamie will need to transfer her weight to the right ski by kicking her right leg forward and gliding while balancing. This will be achieved by slight plantar flexion of the ankle joint, extension of the great toe and lesser toes, also slight flexion of the hip and the knee joint, and she'll reposition her center of gravity forward as you see her doing. Next, what you'll see is that she will bring her left arm forward by flexing at the shoulder joint, extending at the elbow. With weight transferred onto the right ski, Jamie is going to begin her stride by going slightly deeper into hip and knee flexion. After that, the goal to create the stride is actually creating a downward force on the snow. If she were to push just straight backwards, the ski would just slide backwards and she wouldn't gain forward momentum. So as she goes slightly deeper into hip and knee flexion right here, she's going to prepare for the push off, exerting downward force with right leg. And then extending right leg backwards at the hip and the knee joint. And as she does that, she's going to push off with her left arm and extend her left arm backwards at both the shoulder joint and the elbow joint. Taking another look at the previous step here, we can also see that as Jamie is pushing down with her right leg, extending the right leg and extending the left arm, she is simultaneously kicking her left leg forward, as we discussed in the previous step, while bringing her right arm forward by flexing at the shoulder joint. So she's kicking the left leg forward by flexing at the hip and the knee, and then also bringing the right arm forward by flexing at the shoulder joint, slight flexion of the elbow joint. So actually watching Jamie in motion now, cross-country skiing, and trying to put together steps 6 and 7. Step 6 primarily focusing on the flexion phase of the lower extremities and the upper extremities. So she can see flexion of right leg, left arm. And that flexion primarily consists of flexion at the hip right now, flexion at the knee of the right leg, and then flexion of the left shoulder. So flexion of right hip, right knee, left shoulder. And then preparing for the extension phase too then. So we can see then as she brings her right leg, left arm forward, pushes down, so pushes off the ground on her right leg and extends the right leg backward. And as you can see her extending that right leg backward, then her left shoulder joint will be extending backward as well. And what you can also notice is that the exact opposite pattern is occurring with the other side of the body. So when the right leg is kicking forward, left leg is extending back, as you can see there. Same with the shoulder, as the left arm's flexing forward, right arm's extending back. Taking another look at Jamie here, she comes back with her opposite leg facing us. Be able to see the stride phase a little clearer here. So as she kicks that left leg forward here, she's going to be gliding, and then she's also balancing with the right arm. Downward force with left leg extends, and then right arm extends as well. Kick left leg forward, she's in a glide, balancing with the right arm. Downward force, extending left leg back, right arm's extended. So here's a good glide phase right here. So you can see kicking left leg forward, gliding, balancing with the right arm. Downward force, extending left leg back, right arm's extended back. So it's that direct downward force right here, that direct downward force, and then that extension of the left leg simultaneously with the right arm that creates the forward motion, and then vice versa, because as she's kicking her left leg forward right there, you can see that her right leg was extended back. So as she kicks that left leg forward, her right leg's extended back, so that's in the exact opposite motion. Also notice that Jamie's center of gravity is slightly forward as she moves forward in the stride as well. And it's actually her gliding leg kicking forward that catches her forward falling body. I know it's not dramatic, but it's just slight enough, and it's hard to sometimes tell. But with her leaning forward, it's that transition into glide phase, left leg there, right leg there, that is actually supporting her upper body and then helping her move forward as well. I think it's also important to emphasize once again the rhythmic nature and the cyclical nature of this activity. Also, too, some cognitive requirements that are involved would be obviously balance, shifting from leg to leg, bilateral coordination as well when we're entailing the extension of one leg and then the opposite extension of the other arm. When coming to a stop, you'll see that both the left and the right arms will be flexed at the shoulder joint, slightly flexed at the elbow joint as well. And then what you're going to use is simultaneous abduction and adduction of the wrist joint, propelling the poles against the ground to create resistance to help you stop. So you'll be able to see this once again here in a faster mode. Once finished with the activity, in order to release the boots from the binding, you want to maintain the elbow in a flexed position, slightly internally rotate the shoulder joint to align the pole with the binding release latch in front of the boot. Slight extension of the elbow joint, and the triceps will most likely be isometrically contracted on this, and now you can see that Jamie has her right foot released. We'll repeat those same instructions for the left boot. Slightly more internal rotation of the shoulder joint, and this is the same process moving through it except at a quicker speed. This angle right here helps us see the internal rotation of the shoulder joint better. She unclips the right and the left binding. Bindings unlatched, Jamie's going to step out by flexing at the hip and the knee joint and then abducting the legs outwards. As you can see here, flexion, hip and the knee, and then abduction outwards. Back into an extension phase for standing. And then Jamie will release her right and her left hand from the ski pole by extending both thumb and phalanges 2 through 5. And then once again using the 3-jaw chuck pinch grasp to release and take the ski pole loop around the hands.
My heart's a stereo, it beats for you, so listen close. Hear my thoughts in every note. Oh, oh. Make me your radio and turn me up when you feel low.
Turn it
This
up a little bit.
melody was meant for you, so
Right
sing
there.
along.